I'm Drew.
I'm Tony.
And this is Back for Our Future, the show that goes back to look at our past and all of our past, really, and possibly our futures. I hope. If my indication of football this season says anything. Oh, my Lord. We'll tell that story another day. Anyway, welcome back to the show. I hope you watched last episode because look, we talk on these shows. I don't often re-listen to our shows. Every once in a while I will. And I went back and re-listened to the Richard episode, and I laughed just as hard, if not harder. Even though I knew the jokes that were coming, I knew the story was about to happen. What a great find. I'm so glad you invited him onto the show. Hilarious, great moment, super fun. So great job, Tony, in putting that whole show together because it turned out to be just legendarily just gold. So great episode.
He's a funny guy. I mean, he's always been good, and him and I together are always funny, and we always have a great time. And so I knew that would be fun to have all three of us on.
Yeah, it was good times. It was well done, well produced, as we say. So I'm looking at the notes here, and the first note for me says, a surprise for Drew.
Yeah.
Now, this can go so many wrong ways.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead then.
First of all, by the time this airs, which will be exactly 2 weeks from today, your birthday will have happened. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
That's number one.
I'm still mid-40s.
It's the way you just said thank you. You're like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I am.
So happy birthday, bro. I love you. You know that. And,
yeah, I appreciate you.
And and here's the thing that I want to know. When you wake up in the morning, okay?
Oh, God.
And you have one of your first of 8 cups of coffee or whatever it is that you have.
Sure.
And you go outside and you look at the sky. Do you look up at the clouds and God and say, whose life can I destroy today?
Oh my God.
Do you do that?
Not purposefully.
I mean, I'm just curious. What do you have? What do you have it out for these people that you need to destroy innocent human life?
This one is one of the worst.
What have we done to you?
This is one of the worst that and I don't mean to laugh about it because it sucks. But this was hands down. I wish our text messages could have been like a podcast because the amount of things coming out of our mouths about what I've done, I don't know, bro. It's pretty bad. It's one of the worst.
Listen, I mean, it all began, and of course, people can go back and listen to the February 19th show. Listen to the February 19th show. You'll understand the origins of what we're about to talk about real quick. I don't want to spend 20 minutes on it, but you want to talk about it real quick? You want to see what you want to tell the people what you've done?
Well, let me set this up correctly. Okay. So when Tony and I both, part of our collegiate attendance was at the University of South Alabama, who has never had a football team ever. We both have moved away. I've since moved back, obviously. We both moved away before there was a football team. We both didn't live here when there was a football team when they started. And so when I moved back, I got excited and I bought season tickets. They have a brand new stadium. It's beautiful. Hancock Whitney Stadium. Gorgeous place. We both buy tickets. The tickets that I share with my father and then some of my employees or friends or whatever, we give Dale will show up from time to time drunk. He'll show up. So to set up the story real quick, and I won't take forever, but we've been moving further and further from literally we were just offset field side of the end zone, and we've been moving left towards the 50-yard line. We're getting better and better seats every season.
Right.
Some reasons is because South has not performed as well, so the tickets get cheaper, and I just keep moving us over. So we've had the same set of seats now for 2 seasons. We're going on our 3rd season. And sitting in front of us all of last season was the quarterback for South Alabama, his parents, his whole family. They would drive down every week. We'd see him. We'd high five, shake hands. I would bring a bag of Skittles because Gio loves a very specific. This is even makes the story worse, doesn't it? Gio loves a very specific type of Skittles, and his parents told me so. I would give them to them, and they would give Gio Skittles. Like he would grab Skittles in between plays or whatever. Like it was like we're watching this, and this kid on the field for South, we're all excited.
And this is Gio Lopez, the starting quarterback for South Alabama.
That's correct. He's a starting quarterback for South Alabama, and we all are like super excited for him, and we love his parents. I mean, they're the sweetest little family. They're not. I mean, his dad's a monster. He could punch a hole in my head. But so we've gotten to know him, and they know us, and we all get along well. And then shortly after the season, we get this notification: Gio Lopez has entered the portal.
Yeah, right.
And we're like, oh man, he was like a shining star. South has some decent players, but I mean, we're Sun Belt, the Fun Belt as we call it, weirdly self-prescribed Fun Belt, and so he goes to North Carolina. He receives a $4 million. Is that correct? Isn't it $4 million?
Yeah, it's in the $1 to $2 million range. So it's like more like a 2 for 3 million, 3.5. Okay. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
So South currently has, as far as I know, 0 players getting paid. Gio gets the option to go, and I didn't know this at the time because I just don't particularly care for Bill Belichick very much. Now Gio's going to play at UNC starting. I didn't know he was going to be starting on top of it, but now he's a starting quarterback under Bill Belichick's team that he's assembled of 70 new players. Gio Lopez, right? Tony's just lead. So what happens is it's Monday Night Football. By the way, Gio's entrance into this game, they have shown Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
They have shown, I forget who the other guy is, but there's another guy up there with him.
Yeah, Lawrence
Taylor, Michael. These are all athletic greats.
Roy Williams, Mia Hamm was there. Everybody was there, dude.
All these people are there to see Gio. They're there for Gio. Dude comes out. Dude comes out first quarter. First drive, and UNC is like nothing I've ever seen. They look like an NFL team. They're moving the ball with ease, and we are so excited. Well, let me say I am so excited. Gio throws 2 epically perfect passes. I mean,
he did
2 perfect passes. They run it in for a touchdown. I post on Facebook. I hate to see him go, but I'm so happy for Gio's success. And then I text Tony because February 19th, that episode we talk about, I don't text Tony during football season unless it's about one of my teams. And my teams cannot be playing any affiliate of Tony Nick Najati Sports Enterprises. They can't be playing any of his teams. I text him and I say, dude, do you see Gio? He's killing it. What did I say? I said something like that. You probably have a better memory.
You said, dude, are you watching Gio? He's smashing it in North Carolina.
Tony, I'll let you pick up the story from here because you're the sports guy.
So I'm sitting there and I get this text message. Gio's smashing it at North Carolina. And I immediately think to myself, this is going to be poorly. Immediately. Because nothing you ever say when you compliment somebody mid-game ever goes well. Ever. So my immediate text back to you was, the season just started. It's only been 1 drive. Well, here's what happened. He had those 2 great completions. They scored a touchdown within 5 plays. And then it took 2 hours and 8 minutes of game time. 2 hours and 8 minutes for Gio to throw his next completed pass. 2 hours and 8 minutes. And when he threw it, it was for 5 yards.
Oh my God.
And in between that touchdown and that next completed pass, he threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown and a bunch of incompletions, and he looked like a bum. And then the poor guy goes out and rolls out to his left, gets smashed from behind, gets hurt, fumbles the football, and then gets replaced in the game. And now the guy's hurt.
Yeah.
And this is all your fault.
I am not laughing at any of Gio's misfortune. Certainly not his injury. He sustained an injury itself.
We're laughing.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it is unbelievable. I literally went back to this Facebook post and I see that Back for the Future podcast is now trolling me on Facebook. And then Dale Boyd, host of the other podcast I do and friend of the show, is now trolling me. And which I just changed it. I changed the post to say this post aged very poorly. Like within 2 hours, it went sour or something like that. Right. I couldn't believe it. I just told Tony before we started the show, I went to bed hopeful that like, okay, I stopped watching the game at halftime. Maybe something would happen. And he's like, no, dude, it just got worse. I am Gio Lopez. I'm sorry, brother. I actually was genuinely, and I still will. I will always root for you. But I have jinxed you. You can't sue me because it's not real, but I'm just saying.
I kind of hope his dad punches a hole in your head.
He could. Good Lord. You
should apologize to his family.
Lopez family, I'm looking into the camera for those of you listening on audio. I'm being very I'm as sincere right now as the CEO of that company that took the baseball hat from the tennis player. Wow. I'm kidding. I'm very sincere. It's not my fault. But it is. And I apologize mostly. I can't apologize for your son's performance. That's on him. But I can't apologize for Do you see? I've learned how to be a CEO. I've practiced.
No,
I've been practicing. It does suck, dude. It's bad. All right, jumping into it. It is September 14th, and a movie comes out that I did not see at the time. I only bring this up because it turns out this movie, there's been like documentaries about it. This movie ends up being really profound. I don't know how it did at the box office. I'm curious to see. And that's a movie called Quiz Show.
Yeah.
It was not something I would have probably seen I'm sure this is a Tony Scene movie, but like I would not have seen this in the theater, but later on I would go back and appreciate the ever loving crap out of the film, and the performances are really good. What do we got on Quiz Show?
Directed by Robert Redford, who's obviously a legend. And, it's about the 21 quiz show, the 21 show, the quiz show 21 and the scandals in the 1950s. And Robert Redford directed, of course, and it's got a great cast: John Turturro, Rob Morrow, Ray Fiennes, Dave Paymer, Paul Scofield. Good cast. Did pretty well, actually. I mean, made about $53 million on 31, which is too. And especially with secondary markets, of course. And yeah, I mean, I just really enjoyed it. I like movies like this. I mean, this is first of all, a couple things. For people who don't know, I'm a game show junkie. Like, I love game shows. I always have. Love game shows. I still watch them to this day, tons of them, and that's one of my things. Like, I love game shows and quiz shows and things of that nature. So this was a movie that was kind of right up my alley, and I did love it. I saw it at Carmike, off Government there, Carmike 10. And, thoroughly enjoyed Quiz Show. And I do like the Robert Redford directed films. I think he's got some good ones. And good cast, man, because I love John Turturro.
Yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. Like going back, and if I'm not mistaken, this is an early Ray Fiennes movie, right? This would have been early in his career.
Yeah, this is a little bit earlier in his career. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're getting John Turturro, who's obviously world class. Like, I mean, hundreds of movies of genius. Great character actor, funny guy, but he also can be very serious. It's amazing what Turturro can do. Ray Fiennes obviously has gone on to become like this iconic, epic, dramatic actor that is just known for his breadth of work. But and again, you get what's that?
I worked with his nephew.
Did you?
Yeah, on a couple of movies. We did. He's in the After franchise.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah. There you go. So great film. Pales in comparison to the movie that comes out 2 days later, in my opinion.
It's true.
And the only reason I say this is because this is one of those movies that I don't remember if we saw this together. It seems like we would have. This seems like something we would have, but maybe we did.
We
Okay,
saw.
I was about to say. Yeah, this is right. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the 90s, especially this time frame, mid-90 era, 94 is where we're talking of, but in this time frame, there was no one quite as prolific in action movies as Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He was awesome.
Now, I believe we both worked with him. Have you worked with him?
I did. Yeah, I was first on a movie called Until Death back in 2006. So I worked with him in New Orleans. To him and Stephen Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's I can tell you JC as they call him on set. JC is a very interesting guy in his later years.
Yeah.
He I'm not going to trash on him for anything. I'm actually going to pay him one of the biggest compliments I can. I think I've told this story before, but this guy's muzzle control, like we were doing a stunt scene and they had to shoot through this guy's muzzle control. He knew exactly how many rounds were in the gun when he finished it. Now we've talked about gun safety on the show before. They're shooting blanks. We had a proper armor. He shoots through the scene. I'm cam-opping on this film and he gets to me. And he's supposed to shoot near me. He refuses to do that shot because it's too close to me. Even though I'm not directly in barrels, the guy like pulls his gun up properly and sweeps over me and comes back down. But he does it so smooth and fast that it just looks like he's turning. Like it is unbelievable. And when he's done, he's like holding the gun, finger off the trigger, all the proper gun safety for anybody that's one of those people. And until the armorer gets there, he will not let go of that gun. He doesn't move it. He keeps it up in the air. And he's like, 2 rounds left. 2 rounds left. He keeps saying 2 rounds left. The armor goes over, and I shit you not, he pulls it out. 2 rounds left in that magazine. Like they told him 7, he shot 5. He knew all that stuff. Later, he did have some trouble remembering lines. That's okay. But he knew the most important part about the gun safety side. The movie we're talking about is Time Cop. That was not the movie Tony and I worked on. Tony worked on a different one. However, Time Cop, and for a lot of weird sci-fi nerds out there, Time Cop still stands as one of the most interesting, kind of like Demolition Man has a legend. Time Cop has a legendary status. Fantastic movie, extremely well made, and super fun. The idea is fun. Everything about it's fun. The whole universe they build is really unique for being a Jean-Claude movie. Like Universal Soldier's got a unique universe too, but this one is specifically because you have this very great gag of him time traveling. What do you remember about this? We saw it. I'm sure we saw this at Carmike. This must have been a Carmike movie.
We saw it at Carmike. Yeah. I mean, listen, man, Time Cop still stands as one of maybe his better films. I mean, it's not my favorite Jean-Claude movie, but it is a good one, and it did do really, really, really well. It's like a $25 million film. Did over $100 million. Worldwide. That's great. I worked with the producer on this movie as well, Moshe Diamant. He produced the movie that I did with Jean-Claude. They had kind of separated and hadn't done movies together for a long time, and in 2006 they did this movie that I did with him. They got back together for that film. But yeah, I mean, Time Cop is Jean-Claude and Ron Silver, who was awesome, and Mia Sip, of course, from Ferris Bueller. And yeah, I mean, it's just a well-made movie. Peter Hyams, who also did Sudden Death, which is another Jean-Claude movie that I really like.
Yeah,
and he did the 1986 buddy cop movie, Running Scared, with Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal. I mean, he's a pretty cool director, actually. So it's a sleek movie, man. I mean, if you're into Jean-Claude, Time Cop has to be on your radar for sure.
Yeah, and it is a very fun movie. It's on my it's been on one of my rewatch lists that I do on Sundays. I try and rewatch classic movies. Also, not a plug for them. I think you may have turned me on to them, but I started watching Pluto TV a lot. And bro, I got to tell you, Pluto's the best because they just show movies you've forgotten about or you haven't thought about in a minute. And obviously they have a whole series of game shows and old TV shows that Tony loves. We should get sponsored by him for this plug, but it's legit. So
Pluto TV is
Yeah.
the best. I do love Pluto TV. They do have old all the old stuff. So it's like like you said, the game shows, the old. They have lots of old sitcoms and TV shows, and of course all these great movies they have shown as well.
It's super good. So we go into September 23rd, and there's two contrasting movies. One movie is considered by a lot of film critics, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of film people in my life to be one of the greatest films ever made, and I would say it's pretty close. And that's going to be Shawshank Redemption, and that's juxtaposed against a movie called Terminal Velocity that is not those things. I don't know.
Which, by the way, we were super excited to see together, and we did.
Yes. We chose that over. I know you saw Shawshank in the theater. I did not. Shouldn't surprise anyone at this point. We chose Terminal Velocity over one of the greatest films ever made. Let's go to Shawshank. Okay. Obviously, we've seen it. We've all seen it now. We've all seen it multiple times. It becomes a phenomenon. It is probably the first time that most people realize that Stephen King wasn't just a horror writer and he could do a lot more. I think it's probably, did it get Oscar noms? I don't even know what all it potentially did, but it is a smash movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So it got the Oscar noms because, what ends up happening, of course, it's written and directed by Frank Darabont, who's like one of the notoriously tough directors to work with in the world.
Yeah. Right.
Really difficult. And so, but I mean, it's got a marvelous cast, of course. Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, William Sadler, who I worked with, Clancy Brown, Gil Bellows. I mean, James Whitmore. It's a really, really veteran group of actors. I mean, if you want to watch a lot of really good thespians working together, Shawshank Redemption is for you. And not a huge hit. I mean, it was really kind of a disappointment because it was a $25 million movie, and when it first got released, it did not recoup its budget even. So, but when it got those Oscar nominations, they re-released it, and it made a little bit more money, and it only ended up making like $25 million in America and Canada, but it made like another $45 million or so overseas. It ended up getting to like $73 million. But still not, this goes to show you once again that you could have one of the greatest movies ever made, and it may not be a hit. So a lot of people worry about that kind of stuff, and they're always, I mean, I love box office, don't get me wrong, but my love for the movie is never tainted based off its box office performance. A lot of people will be like, well, that's a flop. Well, it could be a box office flop. Doesn't mean I don't like the movie, so this is a perfect example of that. A movie that's regarded as one of the greatest movies ever made, and it was certainly not a huge monster hit.
That's an excellent point that I think you've said that before because we've tried to explain it, but this is probably the most relatable example in history, right? Because everybody knows this movie, and yet nobody probably knows its box office history. The truth of it is, like, unless it's something that ends up in the top 10 and gets Oscar runs, which is usually those end up being like VFX movies, or, if you look at what the top 10 is, they're not always that case. But this is one of those movies where Oscar nominates, it doesn't do great in the office, but everybody knows what it is. Now it's like one of those movies. It's one of those films that it's a Sunday afternoon movie. It's on, and I can just watch it because it's a feel-good movie at the end of the day, which is shocking, considering at the time it's coming from Stephen King.
It just got such a great pedigree too, man. It's like Darabont. I know it's difficult, but still, Darabont's great. And then it's got Roger Deakins shooting it. I mean, it's just it's got all the pedigree of just being a great movie, and it's a great movie. So
yeah, it is. That's why it holds up in that way. Then we go, but Tony and I, as we said earlier, we forewent that movie together to go see Terminal Velocity, a movie about Charlie Sheen, I believe, jumping out of planes.
Charlie Sheen, yep. Yeah.
Now, did we see this because it has there's a girl in it, and I don't remember. She's blonde. Is it Erica Eleniak in this? No,
No,
it's probably not.
Sasha Kinski.
Natasha Kinski, who we both like from the Species movies.
Yeah. No. Nastasha Kinski. Different girl.
Oh, I've already mixed them up.
Different girl. Yeah, different girl. But that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. It also has James Gandolfini and Christopher McDonald, who of course is Shooter McGavin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great cast. I mean, listen, we were really excited about seeing this in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember us really being excited about that. You know, we've always liked Charlie Sheen, so you and I have always been a fan of his. Like, you know, some of those movies have just been. I've always really enjoyed Charlie Sheen, of course, and I love his brother dearly, and so yeah, I mean, I was excited about Terminal Velocity, and I enjoyed it. We walked out of the theater and we liked the movie for sure. I don't know if you've seen it recently, but I mean, you know, I own a copy of it.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this movie since the theater, to be honest with you. It's one of those ones it has not made it on a rewatch list for me. It may sometime when I run out of other movies. But
didn't do very well. It was like because it's a bigger movie with stunts driven, and this is a perfect example. I mean, it's a $50 million movie. It made right around $50 million, so it needed to, so it had to make a lot of its bones on secondary markets, which is fine. But I mean, that's it wasn't a huge flop or anything, but it certainly wasn't a big hit at the time. But it did better than Shawshank Redemption when it first came out, though.
Yeah, that's telling, right? Like that's the thing. To your point earlier, is like it's pretty telling that one of the greatest films of all time up against Terminal Velocity is out box office. But one has shelf life and the other doesn't. And that's the reality of how it works out. Not trashing on the movie by any means, because we saw it, we paid money for it, but it just wasn't quite as engaging as I think at the end of the day. Like it didn't hold as true as like something like Shawshank does.
Yeah. Well, Charlie Sheen, baby.
That's right. Charlie Sheen. So that takes us to September 30th. It's the next week. And frankly, this week is insane to me because I don't remember what Teenage Drew would have said to you about this stuff. But the three movies that come out are all quality. We'll start with the first one. There's lines in this movie that have been quoted in our friendship group for years.
For years.
I still say, pull the strings. Pull the strings. Yeah. I still say it. And that is Tim Burton's Ed Wood, which is just a gloriously beautiful movie. Yeah,
this is a great film, man. And it's look, I mean, Tim Burton has released a lot of great movies, and a lot of bigger budget movies. This was one of the movies that he did was kind of on a smaller budget because it was about $18 million at the time, and it didn't recoup its money back. It's one of the only quote unquote failures that he's had at the box office that didn't recoup its money. It made $14 million at the box office and got kind of a smaller release. But man, Ed Wood might be one of his best films. I'm not going to
agreed 100%.
Great movies. Yep. It is one of his better movies. It's really overlooked, and I'm sure there's quite a few people who might be even listening now that's never seen it. But this movie is a classic, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And the cast is really good. I mean, you have Johnny Depp in it.
Who won an Oscar for his performance.
Right.
Sarah Jessica Parker, Patricia Arquette, Jeffrey Jones, Bill Murray's in it. I mean, it's a really, really, really amazing cast and a tremendously gifted director, of course.
Do you think some of it had to do with like, it's black and white? Yeah. Do you think some of it had to do with those things? Like, because we've had obviously a year before this, I believe, when we have Schindler's List come out, and the black and white there is about sincerity.
I think it's
in tone.
I think it's things, because I mean, it didn't get a huge box office release. I mean, it didn't get like that big rollout, got kind of a smaller rollout because they didn't spend as much money on it.
Right.
So you got an $18 million budget, didn't get quite the same marketing, and things like that. And also you're going up against movies here and there. I mean, like at the time, you got to remember what's out at this point. Like Pulp Fiction's still out, and there's a whole bunch of movies that are out, and it's going up against. And sometimes you just kind of get lost in the shuffle a little bit. I mean, that's kind of the way it goes sometimes. But it doesn't mean it's not a classic. It doesn't mean it didn't make its money back eventually either, because secondary markets, like I said, are huge. But I've got a really funny story about this movie that involves one of our friends.
Oh, God.
So we and I know he listens to the show, and I love him dearly. But there would be this movie came out in 1994, and I came back 1 year in like 1998. So we'll fast forward a little bit. In 1998, I came back, and I owned this movie by that point, VHS copy of this movie. And one day, our buddy Stephen Brown, who we both love, and him and I decided to watch a couple movies over at the house. And by this point, we're both 21 years old. And so we're like, well, what we'll do is we'll get like a 12-pack of Corona and sit around and watch a couple movies. And this was one of the movies right here. And we turned this film on and drinking beers in the downstairs area in my parents' house there, in the living room. And we must have quoted this line. And the line is, Karloff is I'm gonna go ahead and say the line. As it is. The line is, Karloff is a cocksucker. That's the line. And him and I must have quoted this to each other, I don't know, 1,000 times between the time we watched it and now. Quite a few. And we still do. Every time if I get to talk to him, I don't get to talk to him all that much, but still mention this line. I love this film, and I love that guy, and it's a great story, and I love getting with him that time, and that's what getting to watch movies together kind of endears you to the movie, not just the human being you're watching it with.
Yeah, especially when it's something that's got like that line is iconically part of the lexicon of y'all's relationship. It became part of, I remember us saying on a couple of sets of our movies, we would just turn to each other and say that's like, it became important in our lives beyond just being something we enjoyed. It became kind of like a statement. And that's one of those things of like, it's one of those things of like, that's what we talk a lot about on the show is you go back and you look at these things. And nowadays, and I'm not old manning it in any way, but nowadays we're bombarded by so much media that you occasionally will have a movie that gets some of these lines that will last through friendships. I mean, there's been a few in the modern times, but this era of filmmaking, especially in our friend circle, there were so many movies that had lines that, of course, we're just going to say over and over again, like the Karloff line. Like it's classic, it's golden, it is just that. It's the cashmere sweater, Angora sweater. It's the Angora sweater of the joke wild. So we go from Ed Wood, another movie that comes out. Now, my parents went to go see this movie. The reason I know this is because story about my parents. My dad has tricked my mom into seeing only a few movies. My mom hates anything tense. Her favorite movie is You've Got Mail, which is about AOL.
Right.
My dad has talked my mom into seeing a movie about nature, and that movie is called Deliverance. That's what he told her it was about. So he got her to go see Deliverance because he told her it was a nature movie.
Right.
My mom sometimes
we got to go see Rising Sun.
Yeah, that was not a good play either. Not a good play on our behalf. My dad does that same line again, and my mom's like an elephant and forgets. Because he tells her to go see The River Wild with him, because it's another movie about what, Tony?
Nature.
Nature. So I'm just teeing it up to say it's actually a really great movie.
It is.
Really good cast that
It
I
is.
can remember who's in it. I'll let Tony say it so I don't look like too much of a chump in one episode. But it is a very intense movie. Like it's good. It's a good movie. But he did trick her into another one of those.
Yeah, it's a thriller for sure. There's no doubt about that. I mean, and it does have an amazing cast. As a matter of fact, Meryl Streep was up for a Golden Globe for this movie. But Kevin Bacon, of course, is in it. Dave Strathairn is in it. John C. Reilly's in it. And a guy that I worked with, Joe Mazzello, Joseph Mazzello,
Oh
who
yeah.
was in Jurassic Park. He's a wonderful guy. I worked with him a few years ago in Oklahoma City. And yeah, just a really good dude. But this is an amazing cast, and of course, a very good director, Curtis Hanson. You know, I mean, who had passed away several years ago, sadly. But yeah, I mean, a wonderful, wonderful director and a wonderful movie, and it is very much a thriller, and it is very much has nature in it, but certainly not about nature. Uh, and It did quite well though, because it's like a $45 million movie. It made about 95
Ooh.
in its first run. So yeah, it did quite well.
It's interesting too because as we're saying this, like I didn't remember the Meryl Streep Golden Globe. I remembered her being in it, but just the fact that we've said like 3 weeks here, we've had multiple movies get accolades in a September release frame, which we've told you guys before. Usually after Labor Day is not the peak, but not in this instance. Not in 1994. This is why we talk about strong years for movies, and 94 is one of those years that I would say like collectively is a very strong year for movies because you have all this stuff unfolding. That's pretty wild that they all came within a week of each other. These films that would all end up having some level of either winning awards, nominations, even Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Pretty big side of things. River Wild is a great movie. It's actually it's really good. It is definitely got nature, as Tony said, in it, but it is something, if you haven't seen, it's worth pursuing. It's one of those movies that's on this list. Like a lot of these movies people have probably heard of by now, like Quiz Show, maybe not, but you should see it. Time Cop, Terminal Velocity, you can skip, but like Ed Wood, The River Wild are two films that are 100% worth seeing. The third movie in this lineup is a movie called The Scout.
Yeah.
Now, I don't remember much about this because I feel like I could very easily confuse this with a movie called The Fan.
Yeah. Yes. Right. I get that. Yeah. Very different.
Very different. So, what is the movie The Scout about, and who's in it?
Okay. Well, yeah. The movie The Scout is more of a comedy, and it's directed by Michael Ritchie, who, of course, has got a whole. I mean, he's another director we've lost back in 2001, but has a great pedigree. Of course, he did Fletch and Bad News Bears and The Golden Child, and has a really good knack for comedy that might have some action in it as well. This one is Brendan Fraser and Albert Brooks, and Albert Brooks is a baseball scout who finds this talent, and it's a pitcher. Played by Brendan Fraser. And Diane Wiest is also in it. It's not a movie that did well. It's like a $20 million movie. It made like $3 million. Didn't do quite well at the theater. And as a matter of fact, I didn't see the movie at the theater. This was a rental. This was a far more rental for me when I caught it because it wasn't in theaters very long. But it's so I would say it's mostly enjoyable because it's kind of a kooky baseball movie a little bit, but I would say it's enjoyable because it's got a lot of cameos for a lot of baseball players that were playing at the time. And one of the things I didn't like about the movie is at the end of it, Brendan Fraser throws an immaculate game, which is striking out 27 batters on 3 straight pitches, which is 81 pitches. They're all strikes. It's never been done in the history of the game. and he does that against the St. Louis Cardinals. So that's
Oh no.
yeah, and he strikes out Ozzie Smith at the end of the game. So I was like, oh, okay, I could have done without that, but it was cool to see the Cardinals featured in the movie, and it was cool to see Ozzie Smith and Brett Saberhagen, a lot of these guys that I liked. So that's kind of cool. And again, didn't do very well, but the director's got a great pedigree, and Albert Brooks is always great, and Brendan Fraser's amazing, and I've worked with him in the past. So yeah, something to check out if you're kind of interested in a lighthearted baseball movie.
Yeah, and I think Albert Brooks probably Albert Brooks is really funny when you have the maturity to understand the choices that he makes as an actor. But
Right.
as like a kid, not the guy that I'm gonna default to for comedy all the time. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like
Yeah.
yeah, his choice level or his approach to it is not necessarily, especially in this time in the 90s. We're talking about a lot of Beavis and Buttheady, like
Right.
poop fart joke humor.
Yeah.
And he's very high, not highbrow, but he's just very intelligent in his choice making and his decision making as an actor. But I kind of remember it now that you said that. I didn't remember it then, but I still don't think I've seen it. And if I have, it's definitely fleeted. It struck out in my brain, Tony. Yeah, the dad jokes are free.
I like it.
All right. So, fan favorites, album releases for September 1994. I don't know enough about music releases because as I've learned on every time you've done this, I'm always floored. I did not know this album came out then. I didn't know these came out then. It's not the years that I don't remember. I think music doesn't necessarily have the same seasonality sometimes as movies do. Certainly in the 90s when it seems like music was being pushed out a lot faster. What do we have for album releases in 94? What do we got teed up for September there?
Yeah, let's go through September real quick here. Some good stuff, man. I mean, this was a pretty good month. I'll be honest with you. Starts off with Born Dead by Body Count, which Body Count
Yep.
is pretty awesome. Stranger Than Fiction by Bad Religion comes out.
Yep. Great record. Great record.
Great album. Um, the album USA by the horrorcore rap group Flatliner comes out.
Oh, yeah.
This one's important. Do you remember what happened? I owned this.
No, I do not.
Yeah, I owned this CD, and another buddy of ours, Big A, Andrew, of course, he was into this as well, and he borrowed this CD, and I loaned it to him, and never got it back, and was kind of like, hey, dude, where's the Flatliner CD? And he's like, bro, he's like, one of my quote unquote friends, and I'm gonna leave the name out, but somebody that we know broke into Big A's house.
Oh, yeah. I remember this.
I remember this now, and stole all his CDs and a lot of stuff out of his room. And my CD was one of them, which started this big rift between me and this other guy who did this, which
Yep.
would extend for the next year or so before finally coming to a rest. But some tense moments over the next year between me and this guy for sure. We'll get to some of them in the future. But yeah, because I was really, really, really not happy that he went into this house and stole all this kid's stuff.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
but so that was that, and then of course we have let's look at some of these other ones. Four by Blues Traveler, huge album.
Oh, that blows up. Yeah. Yep.
John Henry by They Might Be Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to Die by an artist by the name of the Notorious B.I.G., which is a massive album.
Yeah.
Red Hot and Country.
With a
What's that? Go ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna say it just has a very tragic title.
Oh, it does. I mean, yeah, of course, the Notorious B.I.G., you know. But, I mean, he released only a couple of studio albums, but this was a massive one for sure. Red Hot and Country, which was part of the Red Hot Benefit series with a lot of country artists, and, of course, went up a couple Grammys, which was pretty cool. Pop Will Eat Itself released an album in this time frame as well. And Mighty Joe Moon by Grant Lee Buffalo, which, if nobody's ever heard of Grant Lee Buffalo, this album's where you start. Mighty Joe Moon is an awesome album.
Very much so.
Here's one that I really enjoyed. It was off of your boy P Diddy's record label, but
Oh no.
Project Funk the World by Craig Mack. I owned that on cassette, and I loved it. I loved it, every second of it. Craig Mack, he's since passed away, but I did love that album. Whip Smart by Liz Phair, which was pretty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Big. Yeah.
Protection by Massive Attack.
Oh wow.
Yep.
See, that's one of those records that later serves us very well because we weren't able to get the licensing, but we used songs from that album as inspiration for, I think it was Skyhook, one of the first films we made. And it was some of that stuff came from that. So crazy that it lived on that long.
Yeah. Thug Life Volume 1 by Tupac, of course, comes out in this time.
Holy cow.
American Thighs, which is the debut for Veruca Salt, comes out at this time. Brandy.
And they blow up.
Yeah. Brandy releases her debut album in this time frame, which, how old are we? Brandy released her debut album in 1994.
Right.
What the hell?
Right.
Chocolate and Cheese by Ween, which I know you were never
classic
really a fan of them, but that was a pretty good album. Deliverance by Corrosion of Conformity.
Yeah. I always think of one person with that one. One girl that just, go. Say it again. I'm sorry.
Divine Intervention by Slayer.
Oh, there you go.
Monster by REM. It's a pretty big album.
That record is a monster.
That's a monster. Yep. Ruby Vroom by Soul Coughing, which of course is another good album. A little album, maybe you've heard of it, called Pulp Fiction. The soundtrack gets released in September.
Oh yeah, yeah, it blows up. That blows up, and people hear one of the creepiest songs I've ever heard in my entire life by Urge Overkill, and I think it's a cover. But that song, "Girl, You're Gonna Be a Woman Soon," as a dad of daughters, no, uncomfortable as shit now. Pardon my language, but it is just
great band. I was just listening to Urge Overkill the other day, yesterday actually.
Yeah,
I love that band. But that isn't. But of course, that's a cover. You knew that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And here we're gonna hit the last album on the list, and we've got a couple stories. So this is a pretty good one. So we had him on our show last episode, and we got into so many stories, and everything went so long, and you kind of had a hard out at the 1 hour mark. We never really got to talk about this, and so I'm going to do it for Richard. And that's the album Under the Table and Dreaming by Dave Matthews Band gets released. And of course, this is a huge album. And Richard is without question the biggest Dave Matthews fan I know, by far. It's not even remotely close. It's his favorite artist. And, I didn't know this until we were talking after, because I brought this up. I brought up the fact that I was like, man, I really wish I had mentioned this album because you're such a huge fan. And he goes, I just got done seeing Dave Matthews for the 35th time this summer.
Good grief.
I've seen Dave Matthews 35 times. And
that's wild to me.
So I've been to 3 of these shows with him over the course of time. And I've seen... And so this album is a big deal for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's what he started bonding with his wife over, and his, at the time, his future wife. And then their first date was to a Dave Matthews Band concert, which is cool.
Oh, man.
Him and I went to 2 full Dave Matthews Band concerts. And then he also talked me into going to see Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds doing an acoustic set in Mobile, Alabama, which I was more than happy to go. But I didn't think about at the time was that it was on Valentine's Day.
Oh no.
And so the show is like mostly couples, and then it's like three dudes. That's what it was.
At it at an intimate Tim Reynolds and Dave Matthews set.
Acoustic set.
You got a bro date.
Yeah.
Acoustic set, a bro date.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very toned down and very melodic, and it's like it was a really, really great show. It's up there with when my dad and I went to go see the Runaway Bride together with nobody else as the moment where I probably got the most looks. Yeah. It's what it is. You don't think about these things. It's like normal parts of your day, but the optics sometimes are there, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, and my story with Dave Matthews not quite as good as his because like he's still with his wife and we've had like 85 kids now, but 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 I was dating this girl in 2008. I was doing this movie in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was dating this girl in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we started dating pretty close to the start of the movie. And so I'm dating this girl, and we're getting close to the end of the film, maybe like a week and a half left, something like that. And she wins tickets to go see the Dave Matthews Band, and she's a huge fan of Dave Matthews. And so, and I'm kind of like, I like Dave Matthews. I'll go see Dave Matthews if I'm like with Richard, but I'm probably not going on my own to go see him, and I do really enjoy his music. And when it's on, I enjoy it, but it's not something I routinely put on to listen to on my own. And so she goes to see this show, and she's going with one of her friends, and she calls me and she's like, "Well, what's your favorite Dave Matthews song?" So I can call you.
Oh no.
And I'm like, and because I'm not like, I mean, I've listened to all the Dave Matthews albums and stuff like that, but I'm certainly not Mr. Deep Cut when it comes to Dave Matthews by any means. So I say Satellite because, it is a song that I like. There's quite a few, but that's one of the songs I did like at the time. And she launches in to like a 20-minute fest of making fun of me for naming the buzz cut of the Dave Matthews Band. And listen, I really don't care about the Dave Matthews Band. I just was trying to appease you with your question. And so she goes to see this show, and she comes back, and of course, like her and her friend have like slept in the car because it's like a few hours away, and they slept in the car so they could just come straight back, that kind of thing. And so she comes back, and we're supposed to go to dinner. And this is like at the end of this movie, so we're all trying to go to this one restaurant that we really enjoyed, and there's like 7 or 8 of us that are going. And she's supposed to go with me. And she's known about it for like a week and a half. And she comes back, and I'm like, "Well, you ready to go to dinner? I'll pick you up in a few hours." And she's like, "Yeah, I can't go." And I'm like, "Well, why can you not go?" And she goes, "Well, not. I'm a little bit tired from coming back from the concert, but also I don't have anything to wear." I'm like, "Well, I've been at your house. You got a ton of stuff to wear." And I was like, "You look great and everything, so why don't you just put something on?" And she goes, "Everything that I want to wear is in the dryer or in the wash." And I was like, "Well," I go, "You have 3 hours to figure it out. It doesn't take 3 hours to do a wash." But it did. And
Right.
Never went out that night, and of course, it started this whole rift, which is Dave Matthews'
I
fault.
think she. I think she. Yeah, I think she dumped you for Satellite. I think you got dumped for Satellite, bro.
So this whole thing happened, and then of course we made up like as the movie was coming to an end. So we made up right on like the last day of the shoot, and I had like a couple rap days, and that was it. And then never saw her again. That was the end of that. And so, yeah, that's kind of like most of my relationships. But anyway, that's the way it went down. So my story not quite as good as Richard's story when it involves Dave Matthews, unfortunately.
Somewhere there's some female 2-girl podcast, and she's like, "This guy I was dating, he said his favorite song is Satellite by Dave Matthews. I can't even believe it's. I'm sure it's a Dave Matthews focused podcast. What does she know? She missed out. One thing that I'll be missing is we recently just got notifications yesterday, or I guess it was Monday.
A couple days ago, yeah.
That yeah, it's been a while for this video. You're right, but like we found out that an actor passed away named Graham Greene, and I got two things to say about it, and both of them, one's broad and one's very personal. So a lot of people may not know the name Graham Greene. You've seen him. I love him. One of my favorite roles he's in is very small, but he's in Die Hard with a Vengeance, and I just adore him. I believe that he's in that, right?
Yeah.
And I adore him in that movie. He's great. He's in a lot of other movies. He's most notably known for playing, because he's Native American, and I do apologize that I don't know what tribe he's part of, but the one thing that always stood out to me is I have a very dear friend named Scotty. He's also a podcaster. He does movie podcasts as well. And one of the things, Scotty is Native American. And one of the things that Scotty and I were talking about for a long time is, he's always like, I wish we had better representation of Native Americans in the movie aside from Graham Greene. And I was like, yeah. I get it. But I mean, I don't, because this isn't like a woke statement. It's not my culture, so to speak. Like, I appreciate Graham Greene as an actor, but I don't have the history that like Scotty has and Graham Greene has with Tribe and everything else. But it sucks because for Scotty, that was the guy he grew up watching. That it's one of those really honest moments. He grew up watching Graham Greene, connected to him because he had that relationship to understand. And in his mind, as a young filmmaker, producer, and content creator that he's become now, Graham Greene was an inspiration to him because he made it. He was a Native American that made it in a time when a lot of Native Americans were being played by white people. Graham Greene was the real deal. And for him to be able to get to that point is a massive push. So I feel it because I like him as an actor, obviously, but I also feel it because for my buddy Scotty, that guy represented something directly related to him. And that's rare that you get something like that. But he derives some of his passion for content creation comes from seeing Graham Greene on screen. And it's sad to see somebody like that go, knowing that he had such a profound impact that he may or may not ever know or will have known. But he did have a major impact on somebody else that identified with what Graham represented and where he came from. So it's a real sad piece, and he's got a library of movies I'm sure you'll talk about that are just outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, I really started taking notice. I mean, he'd been in a couple of really smaller movies previous to really breaking out in Dances with Wolves, and that's where I took the most notice because saw that movie at the theater up here in St. Louis with my grandmother, and Dances with Wolves is an amazing movie. I know some people might think it's a little too long or whatever, but Dances with Wolves is quite incredible, and Graham Greene is very good in it. And we've talked about quite a few of his movies on this show because we talked about Thunderheart with him and Val Kilmer, of course, and lost both of these stars of this film. And he was in Maverick, he was in North. Of course, he has that great little bit in Die Hard with a Vengeance, which is maybe one of the best Die Hard movies that's ever been released. And he's in The Green Mile, and I mean Snow Dogs, and a bunch of movies, that have done really, really well. And yeah, I mean Graham Greene and he was also in a movie that came out several years ago that my brother and I saw at theaters, and that I would like to make sure people watch, called Wind River, which is an amazing film.
Oh my God, is it good?
Yeah. He's in that as well, and that movie is spectacular. If you haven't seen it, Wind River is definitely Tony's pick, involving Graham Greene. And if you haven't seen that film, that's a must watch. And because it's more of a thriller. It sounds like it might be some kind of nature movie or something like that.
It is not. It is a great nature movie. Yeah, good callback. Yeah, good callback.
But yeah, Graham Greene was always one of those solid actors. I never had the fortune to work with him, but I do know some people who have worked with him, and by all indications, he was pretty much one of the good guys and a really, really nice man. I've never heard anything bad about him. I've only heard good things. So that's it's a shame I never got to work with him. I would have loved to, but you can't overlook his contributions to film. And again, like you said, and you said it eloquently already, but yeah, I mean, it's great that he was able to represent the way he did. And I always loved, and of course he was born in the Six Nations Reserve, and he was a Canadian actor as well. So yeah, he was able to represent that to the best of his abilities, which, he was a tremendous actor who will be missed for sure.
Yep. Yeah, he like I said, the impact that I saw he had on my friend just in our conversations about movies, and then the impact he had on me just being, I mean, he's consistent, and that's what you want to look for when you start, looking at any sort of actor. But Graham Greene was consistent, and he had a again, great set of roles. He will be missed, and I hate it for him. I saw a nice little post. I didn't read it all, but Ethan Hawke apparently had just worked on the movie with him or had done something with him recently and made a nice, really, if you go on social medias, you can find it. But it's a nice post from Ethan Hawke talking about his friend Graham Greene and how they work together. And it's a nice piece. It's a nice little read. From what I read, the byline, I didn't get too far into it. Yeah. Speaking of social media, terrible segue, but speaking of social media, if you would like to join the conversation, you can follow us in lots of different places. Facebook is where you're going to get the most content from us just because it's easier for us to post pictures, find old bits, whether it's movie stubs or flyers or just general information, things that we've come across in the history of the show. Great spot to be at. We're on all the social medias, though, if you would like to go after it. That said, Tony, anything else you want to add before we just close this bad boy out?
Yeah, I'd like to add, I'd like to see stop destroying lives. You in general, stop destroying lives. Be better. Be a better.
You know what? Maybe I'll make a business. I can make a business. If anybody has a rivals sports team that you would like for me to root for, just send me $100, and I will say something positive about them on Facebook and in text message to your friend.
Yeah, send us both $100 if you want to. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, we'll take it. That's it for me, guys. Please.
I won't do it to Tony though, so don't try and trick me into doing it for Tony. It won't happen.
Love you all. Peace.
See you guys. Cheers.